Hi guys, it's Amy Gable Stitcher here with another stitching update video. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2020, and it no longer seems really weird to say 2020. So we are definitely into February and we are definitely into the new year. If you are a first-time viewer, thank you for coming on by. This is a video where I talk about my cross stitching, what I have been working on, what I've been planning on working on, and what I have finished in the last week or so. If you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. It's great to see you again. I have no idea what number Flosstube video this is. It's more than 10. I think it's less than 20. But you'll know because it will be in the title. This is the second video I am filming in my library. And when I say library, it's not like we have 500 rooms in our house. This is our formal living room of the house. And when my husband and I bought this house about 5 years ago, we realized we would never use the formal living room because we're just not formal living room type of people. We figured this would be a perfect room for a library. So we did the IKEA Billy bookcase hack. So that's what those bookcases are. If you look online, there's a lot of hacks that you can do with making what looks like a kind of built-in library. And we decided to do that, and we've really enjoyed this room. It's been perfect for us and our needs. This is the adult living. It's turned into the adult living room. So no TV, just reading, lots of cross stitch, and just a nice, quiet, calm place to be. So with that being said, let's get all excited and fired up about cross stitch. So I went through my planner today and I looked at my January statistics, and I had a really good cross-stitching month. So I wanted to kind of share a little bit of those stats with you for January really quickly because I did not keep detailed notes. But in January, I stitched 30 out of 31 days, which is pretty cool. I've never actually kept track of the number of days I've stitched before. And when I say I stitched, it could have been I put in one stitch that day. Usually it says at least a length of thread, but I did actually stitch on 30 out of 31 days. I had 2 new starts. I started stitching the Rebecca Nurse House from Primitive Hair, and I also started the Burgundy Band Sampler from Isuch Designs, which is a stitch along that started in January, and you will see that in my current whips. I had 3 finishes. I had a page finish on Hogsmeade. Right here. It's Welcome to Hogsmeade by Country Magic Stitch. And I finish this page here. So it is a full coverage design, but it's only 4 pages. So I'm more than 1/4 of the way finished. I finished and FFO'd the Black Queen, which is a free design by Sub Rosa Designs, which I had linked on my last video. So if you would like to stitch it, go to that video, and in the comment section, there is a link to that chart on her blog. And I also finished stitching and FFO'd Home of a Needleworker. So, which is very exciting. And I will show you those momentarily. Now is the sad part of keeping stats. I decided to do Stitch from Stash this year, not officially. Stitch from Stash is a group on Facebook that is run by Stephanie, Miss Oso Crafty. And the premise is you start out each month with a budget of what you give yourself to spend. And I chose $25 a month, which is the highest amount you can choose. And you earn cash for everything you finish. So like I said, I'm not doing it officially keeping track of the group. I'm kind of just keeping track of my own. When I add up my finishes and subtract out my purchases, I'm at negative $52.98 for the month of January. I didn't do so well. So on to February. I'm really doing it just to make myself more mindful of not buying every chart I see and like. It's okay to wait and to stitch what I have, because I have lots of good stuff. Lots of stuff I want to stitch. So I did not do great in January. So let's go on to February and see if we can do better. Let me show you those FFOs. Like I said, I did 2 FFOs in the month of January. The first one is Blackhearted Queen by Sub Rosa Designs. I had finished the stitching in the last video. I FFO'd it onto a wooden block. There was something underneath it, so I just kind of picked it up because it was the perfect size and it had some pink on it, which worked for Valentine's Day. This is for an exchange in the Facebook group, The Stitchers Coven, and I will be mailing it off this week. The person I have does not know I have them, so figured I could show it. I wrapped some black fabric around a piece of mat board, which I cut, and then I mounted the stitching on a piece of comic book cardboard, which is acid-free. They cut to size, and I mounted them. And I'm pretty happy with how that came out. This was stitched with DMC toile, mostly a toile. The only thing I didn't stitch with the toile was her skin. And it's stitched on 36 count Picture This Plus Tango, which is a really cool color. So that is it. That's FFO number 1. I am not super adept at using trim, so it's something that I need to work on a little bit. I mean, I think it looks good. It's a little bit plain, but I like it. And I hope my exchange partner will like it too. So there we go. FFO 2 was also a finish. Home of a Needleworker by Little House Needleworks. So this is chart number 3 from Little House Needleworks. It came out in 2003. I believe I started it in 2003. It had been sitting in my pile of whips. I'm trying to do this without like a ton of glare. It had been sitting in my pile of whips since then. And when I pulled it out at the end of last year, all I had done was the roof and a little bit of the house. The house was charted in brown. I hated it, so I just put it away. So when I pulled it out, I said, still like the chart. Let's take out the brown and let's put something else in. So this gray is a Victorian Motto variegated gray. If I get close, you can see the variegation. Liked it much better. I changed a lot of colors on this chart. There was a lot of browns charted. Did not like the browns. So I added, did a lot of greens and reds. And I also, where this bird is, there was a heart charted. Didn't like it. So I made a little thief. You can see he has a needle with some red thread. And initially I was going to cut it off, just stitch the Home for Needleworker and leave this bottom part off. Could not find a frame to fit, so I did stitch the whole design. And this was a frame from Michael's that I bought. It's one of those that had a mat in it that had a spot to put like 3 4x6 pictures, I think. And I just pulled out the mat and was able to frame it. So happy with the way that came out. It's already hung up and being displayed. So those were my finishes and whips. And I also worked on a couple of designs. I mentioned that one of my starts was the burgundy band sampler from Isuch Designs. And this is where it is now. 5 weeks have been released. 1 part drops every Friday. And I believe it's 27 weeks in this design. And I am caught up to date. So this is stitched 1/1 on 28 count banding. And I'm using, I believe it's DMC 815. It's one of the reds. The band is 100 centimeters long, a meter, and I think the design is like 91 centimeters is what it's going to come out to be. Brenda and Laura, Brenda and the Serial Starter, here on YouTube have a rule that you have to have a red sampler started or working on. Everyone should have a red sampler. I'm sure, mixing their words, but everyone should have a red sampler. I did not have a red sampler. And I was going to start Harriet Salt from Hands Across the Seas this year. Still might. But I realized when I was stitching this week, I now have a red sampler. This totally counts. So no longer a rule breaker. Here we go. And if you are not watching Brenda and the Serial Starter, you need to, because they are amazing and enabling, and they have wonderful projects. And they mentioned me in the last video. Thank you guys. So I love your videos, and I will link them below, because if you're not watching them, you're missing out. Whip number 2. Showed this in the last video too. This is a little gnome, and this is from, I believe it's the World of Cross Stitching. It was one of the little free gifts. This is my travel project. It's stitched on 14 count plastic mesh. I'm close to done. I mean, I still have the back stitch to do, and you can see obviously which areas I need to fill in, but I think this will be a finish very soon. So what I've been doing is I outline the areas of the big blocks of color, and then when I am out in the car Ubering and waiting for kids at different activities, I fill in. So I would like to finish this in the next week or so. Today is music lesson day, so I know I will be able to probably fill in at least those 2 areas. I am really liking having a Christmas ornament as my on-the-go project. So I can fit it in this little bag here, pop it in my purse, and I have everything I need. So I think when I finish this, I am going to pull out another ornament and work on it. I have probably every just cross stitch ornament issue, and I really would like some handmade ornaments, and I don't have, any stitched ornaments, so that might be my 2020 travel project. We'll see. I am enjoying it though. The last project I worked on is R&R Designer Motif Sampler. This is an old sampler. Julie, Kansas City Girl and a Colorado World, and I are working on this together. Julie is ecstatic right now because if you are not under a rock and live in the US, you probably know the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl last night, and Julie is a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. So she's very happy, and I am very happy for her. So this is where I am. I haven't done a lot. We are trying to work on this every month on our birthday days, and I'm having a hard time with this fabric. This is a 40 count. It's a 40 count even weave. It's called Vertal. Is it the Verdal or Vertal? I'm not sure. It's from Zweigart. Someone had asked in my last video in the comments where I got it from. I'm going to reply to you, but if you're watching this and you didn't see the reply, I got this from Needleworker's Delight. However, if you are not local to them, I would recommend probably not trying to mail order from them because they tend to be slow. I was looking online and shop in Canada. Ugh, can't think of what their name is now. I will link it below here. There is a shop in Canada where I've bought fabric from before. They carry it as well. I don't know if I like the 40 count even weave. I stitch on 40 count all the time. It's my preferred count. I've stitched on 40 count linen this week and I haven't had an issue. But this, I don't know if it's because it's so smooth. I cannot see the holes in this. I could also just need new glasses. You know, it just could be I need new glasses as well. So I cannot stitch on it at night. I've tried stitching on it at night. Cannot see the holes. Before I filmed this video, I pulled it out and I did do a little bit more. Like I did a little bit of the border here. And it was okay. I'm interested to see when I get to the meat of it going across versus trying to stitch, I don't know, down and little motifs if it's a little easier. We'll see, but it might be just a daytime sampler for me. Or I might need new glasses. So, traditional stitches. Is it traditional stitches? It might be. I'll link it below. Like I'll link the actual fabric below. So Julie's a little further along than I am. You watch her video to see. I'm trying to catch up. But like I said, I'm having a hard time with this fabric. So those are my whips. I'm running out of place to put things on my little end table here. What do I want to work on in February? Well, I have a couple of things that are close to a finish that I would like to finish. So I pulled one out. This is a newer whip. I started it last year in the fall, in September or October. It's 3 Pumpkin Ladies by The Little Stitcher on Etsy. So I love this chart. I love The Little Stitcher. I've decided that like creepy cute, I totally love. And this is creepy cute. This is stitched on 46 count linen. Bergen linen by Zweigart. Mix of the called for DMC and Victoria Motto. Flosses I've subbed in. And there we go. And I have no problem stitching on this. I'm stitching on this in hand. Like 46 count linen in hand. No problem. I can see the holes. I just cannot see it on that even weave. I don't know why. So there we go. Close to done. I have the bottom row of pumpkins to do. Some more leaves and a little back stitching of cobwebs and spiders. Love it. So I would like to focus on a finish for this in February. So all I have left is this down here and this glare, the cobwebs up there. And I pulled out 2 other projects as well. Now, I made it a goal at the end of 2019. For 2020, I wanted to touch every whip I have in progress. Some of these whips have not been touched in decades, a decade or 2. So I figure if I am not going to stitch on them, it's time to go. So, wanted to stitch on them. So I pulled out one in my basket and I pulled out 2 to work on this month. One of them is a crowd favorite, Permanent Copenhagen Sampler 1830. So love this. Started it probably in 2005. I worked on it quite a bit last year. This is stitched on a 32 count Belfast linen. And I'm stitching it in DMC 934. And this is where I am right now. So looking pretty good. This is basically the top third. So I was thinking my goal this month, I'm not too far away from finishing up this edge. There's a little across the top, and then there's like 4 motifs. So that's gonna be my goal for February. Let me show you with a picture. So all right, you're gonna hear crinkle because I'm gonna pull it out because I can't handle the glare. If I can't handle the glare, like, you're not gonna be able to handle it watching it. Of course, the paper's shiny, so it's not much better. Okay, so I'm here. I've done this part over. So, no, wait, this side. So I need to do, or I like to do these right here. This part right here, this month. Or at least work on it. I love this person right here. That little person. I cannot wait to stitch that mermaid. But I'm making myself wait because I'll want to go all the way across the top. So that's my plan. The stitch count in this is 332 by 400. So it's one huge project. On the flip side of a huge project, I have a small project for my other old whip that I pulled out for this month. This is just Nan Seeds of Friendship. This I also started pre-2005. It was a class piece that I took. I actually put it on the Q-snap today. This is the first time it's been on a Q-snap in over a decade. And this is where I am now. I was looking through, there's 12 bands on it. And I believe I am on band 7. So this is totally doable to finish in February. This is stitched with mostly silks. I mean, it really is gorgeous. It is beautiful. I'm just not, I've learned that fussy stitching just isn't really for me. I love looking at it. I don't mind it so much when I'm doing it. I just don't, I have a hard time motivating myself to do it. So let me pull that up really close so you can see. It's really pretty. So this one I would like to finish this month. Pumpkin Ladies I would like to finish this month. And I want to get a nice chunk done out of Sampler 1830. Those are my goals. We'll see what happens. I would also like to stay caught up on my Burgundy band sampler. Stay tuned. I'll be back in a week or two and we'll see how close I am and how well I stuck to my plans, because plans are made to be broken, especially in cross stitch. 2 other quick things. One is some Stitchy Kindness that I received. I am part of a Facebook group run by Melanie Watkins called What Whip. I believe that is a closed group. She has another group on Facebook called Soulful Stitching, which is not closed. But the What Whip group she developed to try to get stitches to encourage each other to finish their current whips. And As I said, I really want to get my pre-2010 whips out the door. I think I'm down to 8 of them. So this was a perfect group for me. You're placed in a group with 3 other stitchers, and you are encouraged to encourage each other in a small group. And I have a wonderful group of ladies that I've been paired with. So one of them, Ellen, is a talented sewer, and she mailed all of us in our group, besides a very nice letter, these bags. And let me show you what this is for. I can't wait to use it, but I couldn't use it until I showed it. So it's a ring for you to put your floss on, and then the snaps actually hold the ring in place, okay, so that it keeps your floss all nice and together from being tangled and nice and clean. It's a little tag. You can write what project it's on. And she also made a little needle book to go with it. Isn't that amazing? It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Ellen. And Ellen has sheep. And if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that, like, I love sheep. Sheep are my animal, my Patronus, my spirit animal. And Ellen also has a shop where she sells yarn, and she has some of these in her shop. So I will link her below, her shop below. So it's gorgeous. So I'm really enjoying that group. And I think I would say the moral of the story, but the thing about that's really nice about the stitching community and the local stitching community, for myself, I have a lot of stitchers that I am close to and good friends with, and we enjoy each other's company, and we are a great encouragement to each other. Not everyone has that. Not everyone has a local stitching community. But the wonderful thing about the internet and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, there's lots of negatives about that too. But the positive is that it is a way to connect with people who you are not geographically close to, but have something in common with, and you can form that relationship and that encouragement. And it's a really great thing that it brings people of common interests together. Julie and I, Kansas City girl, Colorado world, like, we started chatting a few months ago, and now we're great friends. And that wouldn't have happened if she didn't have Flosstube videos and we weren't able to connect on Instagram. And you know, it's a solitary hobby, but it's nice to find like people that you can encourage and get excited about stuff with. Because, I mean, let's face it, most of our family members, like my husband, you know, he's great, but he doesn't get excited about it like my stitching friends do. So, yeah. So thank you, Ellen. And that was a long-winded way to say, go find your people if you can, because it's really a great thing. One other thing I did this past week, actually I did it yesterday, so I dyed some fabric. So it's a big piece. This is 22 count hardanger. And I can see the holes in it. So I think it's just that even weave. I dyed it with a rip dye. I just wanted like a really light tan with a little bit of modeling. You can kind of see it as I rotate a little bit. And I am going to do the Linen and Threads free 2020 sal, the Quaker sal, on this piece of fabric. was doing math on Saturday, and I realized that if I did it on a 22 count, I could fit it into a 12 by 12 frame when it's completed. So I had a piece of hard hanger and some Brit dye, so I just did that yesterday. I would like to start it this month because I would like to stay kind of up to date with it. I'm not sure what floss I'm going to use with it. It'll be DMC, but I'm not sure which DMC. So now that I have the fabric dyed, I will play around with my floss and see what I can find. So that's it. That's what I have for today. We are right at 30 minutes. I hope everybody has had a great stitching week, had a great start to their stitchy year. I am a little bit behind in answering comments from my last video. I read them all as they come in. I don't always respond right away because I want to be able to be distraction free to respond. And quite frankly, with 3 kids and a husband, sometimes that doesn't happen a lot. So I will try to get back to all those comments in the next day or so. I do appreciate them. Please don't not comment. I do read them, but I do like to try to respond to everybody. So thank you much once again. Have a great stitchy week, and I will see and talk to all of you soon. Bye.